It's 10:20. Means it's 4:20 somewhere. So if you got one, spark up. Alright. Tonight will be part 2 of When Will Jesus Bring the Pork Chops. We stopped it last night at the 2020 mark, so we're going to start and pick up at 20:01 and head to the 40-minute mark. So let's get to it.
So the story goes that the person to be saved firmly believes this rather fanciful tale. That would be an example of unbiased news reporting. Don't wait around for it to happen. The aliens will land first. I have a problem with the 10 Commandments. Here it is. Why are there 10? We don't need 10. I think the list of commandments was deliberately and artificially inflated to get it up to 10. It's clearly a padded list. Here's how it happened. About 5,000 years ago, a bunch of religious and political hustlers got together to figure out how they could control people and keep them in line. They knew people were basically stupid and would believe anything they were told, so these guys announced that God personally, had given one of them a list of 10 commandments that he wanted everyone to follow. They claimed the whole thing took place on a mountaintop when no one else was around. But let me ask you something. When these guys were sitting around the tent making all this stuff up, why did they pick 10? Why 10? Why not 9 or 11? I'll tell you why. Because 10 sounds important. 10 sounds official. They knew if they tried 11, people wouldn't take them seriously. People would say, "What, are you kidding me? The 11 commandments? Get the fuck out of here." But 10 sounds important. 10 is the basis for the decimal system. It's a decade. It's a psychologically satisfying number. The top 10, the 10 most wanted, the 10 best dressed. So deciding on 10 commandments was clearly a marketing decision. And it's obviously a bullshit list. It's a political document, artificially inflated to sell better. I'm going to show you how you can reduce the number of commandments and come up with a list that's a little more logical and realistic. We'll start with the first 3, and I'll use the Roman Catholic version because those are the ones I was fed as a little boy. I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt not have strange gods before me. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Thou shalt keep holy the Sabbath. Okay, right off the bat, the first 3 commandments, pure bullshit. Sabbath day, Lord's name, strange gods, spooky language. Spooky language designed to scare and control primitive people. In no way does superstitious mumbo-jumbo like this apply to the lives of intelligent, civilized humans in the 21st century. So you throw out the first 3 commandments, and you're down to 7. Honor thy father and mother. This commandment is about obedience and respect for authority. In other words, it's simply a device for controlling people. The truth is, obedience and respect should not be granted automatically. They should be earned. They should be based on the parents' or the authority figure's performance. Some parents deserve respect. Most of them don't. Period. We're down to 6. Now, in the interest of logic, something religion has a really hard time with, I'm going to skip around the list a little bit. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. Stealing and lying. Actually, when you think about it, these 2 commandments cover the same sort of behavior. Dishonesty, stealing, and lying. So we don't need 2 of them. Instead, we combine these 2 and call it thou shalt not be dishonest, and suddenly we're down to 5. And as long as we're combining commandments, I have 2 others that belong together. Thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Once again, these 2 prohibit the same sort of behavior, in this case, marital infidelity. The difference between them is that coveting takes place in the mind, and I don't think you should outlaw fantasizing about someone else's wife. Otherwise, what's a guy going to think about when he's flogging his dong? But marital fidelity is a good idea, so I suggest we keep the idea and call this commandment, thou shalt not be unfaithful. And suddenly, we're down to 4. And when you think about it further, honesty and fidelity are actually part of the same overall value. So in truth, we could combine the 2 honesty commandments with the 2 fidelity commandments, and using positive language instead of negative, call the whole thing, thou shalt always be honest and faithful. And now we're down to 3. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. This one is just plain stupid. Coveting your neighbor's goods is what keeps the economy going. Your neighbor gets a vibrator that plays "O Come All Ye Faithful." You want to get one too. Coveting creates jobs. Leave it alone. You throw out coveting, and you're down to 2 now. The big combined honesty fidelity commandment, and the one we haven't mentioned yet, thou shalt not kill. Murder, the 5th commandment. But if you give it a little thought, you realize that religion has never really had a problem with murder. Not really. More people have been killed in the name of God than for any other reason. To cite a few examples, think about Irish history, the Middle East, the Crusades, the Inquisition, our own abortion doctor killings, and yes, that's right, the World Trade Center, and you'll see how seriously religious people take "thou shalt not kill." Apparently, to religious folks, especially the truly devout, murder is negotiable. It just depends on who's doing the killing and who's getting killed. And so, with all this in mind, folks, I offer you my revised list of the 2 commandments. First, thou shalt always be honest and faithful, especially to the provider of thy nookie. And second, thou shalt try real hard not to kill anyone, unless of course they pray to a different invisible avenger than the one you pray to. 2 is all you need, folks. Moses could have carried him down the hill in his fucking pocket. And if we had a list like that, I wouldn't mind that brilliant judge in Alabama displaying it prominently in his courthouse lobby. As long as he included one additional commandment, thou shalt keep thy religion to thyself. Time for Action 6 News with Leslie Crotchmonger and Dick Hopsteckler. Here's Leslie with today's top stories.
Good evening. First, the headlines. A giant man shits on Philadelphia. An old man shows his soiled anus to a waitress in an Olive Garden. A small dog eats a man's balls and dies. A crippled couple is arrested for fucking on a roller coaster. Now the stories behind the headlines. In Philadelphia today, a giant man dropped his huge pants and squatted over Independence Hall. He then unleashed a...
Dick reaches over and grabs Leslie's script. Fuck you, you cunt. You did the headlines.
Lick my asshole, you dim-witted prick. My name comes first on the opening announcement.
That's because you blew the news director.
At least I didn't blow a homeless guy who has the sif.
Oh, yeah? Well, he wouldn't have had the sif if you didn't fuck him out back in the dumpster.
Eat my box.
Not without a gas mask, dearie.
Keep fucking with me, little dick, and I'll tell your wife about the Cub Scouts you went down on.
Leslie, the way we're acting is crazy. Let's put all this petty personal stuff behind us and act like professionals. What do you say?
Good idea. I agree.
So what's coming up at 6 o'clock?
How the fuck should I know? What do you think I am, a fucking psychic?
No way. If you were a psychic, you would have known you were going to wind up with labia that hang down like satchel handles.
Thanks, Dick. That's real clever. By the way, doesn't that ever get to you, being called Dick?
Being called Dick is a lot better than being called Dick Licker.
Eat shit, raisin balls. I hope you swallow a turd. Well, folks, that's it for Action 6 News. Don't miss News at 11 tonight, as Rod Holder interviews a nun who's been receiving obscene phone calls from a man who says he wants to chew her bush during a funeral mass.
Action 6 News has been brought to you by First Bank, meeting community needs since 1849. First Bank, experience out the ass. I don't understand these people who call themselves spiritual advisors. Franklin Graham, the unfortunate son of Billy Graham, is George Bush's spiritual advisor. Bill Clinton had Jesse Jackson. And here's the part I don't understand. How can someone else advise you on your spirit? Isn't spirit an intensely personal, internal thing? Doesn't it, by its very nature, elude definition, much less analysis? What kind of advice could some drone who has devoted his life to the self-deception of religion possibly give you about your spirit? Sounds like a hustle to me. I have no respect for any man who allows people to call him Junior. I immediately think he's a chump and a loser. To me, Junior means lower than, lesser than, beneath. Putting Junior on a kid's name is just a way for a father to control and demean his son and prevent him from having an identity of his own. I don't like that whole cult of the father thing in the first place. But apparently some guy's self-esteem is just low enough that they accept it. I have no respect for them. Pro sports is full of these hopelessly daddy-addicted athletes who wouldn't think of taking a shit without their father's approval. I especially have no respect for the ones whose fathers coached them in high school or college, or whose fathers played the same position they did. When I hear the sons of coaches and former athletes talking on television, they sound to me like parent pleasers and ass kissers. Why don't they grow up? Guys and Dolls Part 1. Ladies First. I notice a lot of this comedy they have on television is about relationships. Do you ever see this stuff? Relationship comedy? Well, I don't know much about relationships, but over the years, I've noticed a few things about the two sexes, and I'd like to discuss them. Men and women. The big, hairy, noisy male creatures, and the smaller, smoother, but nonetheless also quite noisy female creatures. Here's all you need to know about men and women. Women are crazy, men are stupid. And the main reason women are crazy is that men are stupid. It's not the only reason, but it's a big one. And by the way, if you don't think men are stupid, check the newspaper. 99% of all the truly horrifying shit going on in this world was initiated, established, perpetrated, and enabled or continued by men. And that includes the wave and the high five, two of history's truly low points. But as I say, besides knowing that men are stupid, it's also important to remember that women are crazy. And if you don't think women are crazy, ask a man. That's the one thing men aren't stupid about. They know for sure, way down deep in their hearts, that women are straight out fucking nuts. But it doesn't just happen. It isn't an accident. Women have good reason to be nuts. The main one being that in the course of life, compared with men, they have far more to put up with. They bear greater burdens. Think of it this way. In the big cosmic cafeteria, as human beings move down the chow line of life and reach that section where the shit is being spooned out, women are given several extra portions. And please understand, my motives here are not selfish or personal. I'm not saying all this stuff to get in good with women, although an occasional blowjob would be nice. But it's not a requirement. It's optional. BJO. Blowjob optional. No, I just think it should be evident to any person who's being honest and thinking clearly that women carry a lot more of life's baggage than men. To begin with, they're smaller and weaker, so they get slapped, punched, raped, abused, and in general get the shit beat out of them on a rather regular basis.
I've always said, women could change the world if they'd quit competing with each other. Like, it... But, hey, shit happens.
By men, of course, who are stronger. If women were stronger, this wouldn't be happening. Men would not raise a hand if they thought the balance was more equal. They'd back down quickly. Then again, if women were stronger, they'd probably be beating the shit out of men just for the fun of it. It's only fair. Another major problem for women, they have to look good all the time. Or at least they think they do. So they'll be attractive to their male protectors. Gotta look good tonight. Joey's gonna beat the shit out of me. Maybe I can get a nice kick in the fucking mouth. Gotta look my best. And looking one's female best requires a lot of things. Start with cosmetics. Just think of all the products and procedures a woman is forced to deal with in the world of cosmetics. Cleansers, toners, foundation, blush, face powder, lipstick, lip gloss, lip liner, eyeliner, eyeshadow, eyebrow pencil, mascara, nail polish remover, manicures, pedicures, fake fingernails, fake eyelashes, face cream, neck cream, eye cream, thigh cream, foot cream, day cream, night cream. Cold cream, wrinkle remover, makeup remover, hand lotions, body lotions, bath oils, bath beads, shower gels, bubble baths, scented baths, perfumes, colognes, toilet water, astringents, moisturizers, emulsions, exfoliants, peels, scrubs, depilatories, body wraps, facial masks, shampoos, conditioners, bleaches, dyes, rinses, tints, perms, straighteners, wigs, falls, rats, extensions, combs, barrettes, bobby pins, hair nets, hair curlers, scrunchies, ribbons, bows, tiebacks, headbands, streaking, frosting, teasing, spraying, moussing, blow.
I ain't gonna lie, until now, I've never really sat there and like really thought out all the shit women buy to, build their self-esteem and trying to look good for others. Personally, I like it as natural as possible. I'm not huge on painted faces and definitely no surgeries. But that's just me. Let's get back to it.
Drying, cutting, layering, curling, eyelash curling, eyebrow plucking, armpit shaving, leg shaving, crotch waxing, leg waxing, eyebrow waxing, and a purse. A big fucking purse. So she can carry all this shit around with her. Especially the makeup, which must be close at hand at all times. Gotta have my makeup, in case I run into Joey and he wants to beat the shit out of me. Gotta look my best. Maybe he'll punch me repeatedly in the kidneys and the stomach so it doesn't mark up my face. He's so thoughtful. And my friend, I hope you're aware that when we talk about women looking good, we're also talking about clothing. Clothing is what generates all that shopping shit that occupies so much of a woman's time. Because the truth is, women have to buy, own, and wear an unbelievably bewildering number of garments. Slips, half-slips, camisoles, thongs, panties, pantyhose, stockings, half-hose, knee-highs, anklets, socks, leg warmers, garter belts, girdles, corsets, training bras, padded bras, sports bras, nursing bras, push-up bras, strapless bras, wonder bras, bustiers, teddies, petticoats, peignoirs, negligés, nightgowns, shorties, muumuus, body stockings, blouses, sweaters, jerseys, pullovers, halter tops, miniskirts, maxi skirts, slacks, suits, sunsuits, business suits, pantsuits, culottes, capris, shorts, short shorts, hot pants, formal gowns, bridal gowns, evening gowns, street dresses, sundresses, cocktail dresses, house coats, winter coats, fall coats, spring coats, hats and scarves, brooches, pins, necklaces, pendants, medallions, lockets, bracelets, ankle bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, engagement rings, friendship rings, thumb rings, toe rings, and optional, of course, nipple, nose, and labia rings. And let's not even begin to talk about shoes. Oh, God, so sorry, girls. I take it back. But at least, let's keep it brief. Tennis shoes, sandals, open toes, slingbacks, mules, wedgies, flats, half heels, and high heels. High heels that damage a woman's feet, ankles, and knees, but make her ass look great, so how can you blame a guy for the occasional rape? Hey, the bitch was asking for it. She was wearing high heels.
That's so funny.
Now, generally, all this obsession with appearance has one purpose. It's supposed to lead to romance, and it is devoutly wished by some, a wedding. A wedding is another one of those good deals women get. The man takes a wife, the woman is given away, her family pays for the whole thing, and everyone stands around hoping she gets pregnant immediately. Pregnant? Hey, another terrific treat for the gals. A chance to gain 40 pounds, puke in the morning, walk like a duck, get sore tits, and develop a nice case of hemorrhoids. What a deal! And such attractive clothing. Plus, she can't get up off the couch without help. Well, it's her own fault. This wouldn't have happened if she'd taken her birth control pill or used her diaphragm. Notice, her pill, her diaphragm. But think of how fulfilling it can be. After all, now she has a baby. A baby she gets to practically raise alone. And if she decides to be a stay-at-home mom, she gets to cook, clean, sew, scrub, scour, wax, wash, dry, iron, do the shopping, drive the van, and entertain the guests. She's a housewife. An unpaid in-family domestic servant. Admittedly, that description is a bit more in line with the old model. The new model is so much better. She gets a fucking job so she can be bringing something in. But somehow she still winds up being an unpaid in-family domestic servant after she gets home from the job. You know, the job, where she gets paid less than men for the same work, does not rise beyond a certain level in the company, and gets harassed all day long by some oversexed moron with a
That's a common theme, or a common thing politicians will throw around: women's pay. I have no problem if women want to be successful. However, I hate when, well, let's take is it Raytheon or Lockheed Martin. One of these companies, they have a woman CEO, so they can hide behind that. Can't talk shit about our leadership, Bullshit. But that's more commonly done in politics, though. Notice when certain whether it's media people or politicians get talked bad about, oh, it's because they're sexist. Or it's just, you're stupid. To me, I'm not biased. I call out stupid male politicians, stupid male media fucking talking heads. And I call out the stupid females too. But that's where the tribalism in this country has gone so far. Like, when you start justifying certain actions based on who's doing it, your moral fucking compass and high ground is non-existent. But let's get back to it. Where are we at? A couple more
In
minutes.
his pants. Probably better just to stay home, where she doesn't have to be bothered with that pesky paycheck crap. And there's none of that nonsense about Social Security, pension plans, and unemployment money in case of divorce. Just alimony and child support, if the ex-husband can be located. The ex who probably thought she was looking a little used up and dumped her for someone whose milk glands hadn't sagged yet. Can't forget those milk glands, can we, girls? Tits! 2 tits! Sticking straight out of your chest. In some cases, sticking straight out. Well, for a few years anyway. Yes, girls, just by virtue of being female, you get to walk around all your life with 2 vulnerable milk glands hanging out in front of you like lanterns. And if somehow you should get the idea that men don't approve of the size and shape of those milk glands, you'll find plenty of social pressure to have them artificially enhanced. Such enhancement usually will be performed and supervised by men. Here's another physical treat for females. Periods. Cramping, bloating, and bleeding 5 days a month. 15% of the time. And you can add...
What Mr. Garrison say? I don't trust anything for a week that bleeds and don't die.
the time spent with premenstrual syndrome, PMS. Men gave it that name. If women had named it, it would be called my several days of shrieking and crying and depression just before my several days of bleeding, cramping, and bloating. Men don't quite see it from that angle. Men experience PMS as a problem for them. What's the matter, Joey? You don't look so good. My wife's got the PMS. Here are some more special female advantages, in case you haven't had enough. Pap smears, mammograms, hysterectomies, mastectomies, miscarriages, abortions, labor pains, childbirth pain, episiotomies, stretch marks, and breastfeeding, and postpartum depression. Can't imagine why she wouldn't feel good. And just to top it all off, menopause. Menopause. More strange behavior and exciting physical sensations. And in exchange for all of this, in exchange for all this abuse from nature, what is the woman's payoff? Why, she's allowed to get into the lifeboat first. At least theoretically. How often do you think that really happens? Oh, and let's not forget, many men are quite willing to hold the door open for her. In fact, some men are quite impressed with their willingness to do this. They brag about it. Yeah, I beat the shit out of her a lot, but you know something? When she runs from one room to the other, I always hold the door open. I'll tell you what a bad deal women got. They're in the majority on this planet, and they still wound up with the shitty end of the stick. That's how big a hosing they got. Oh, and one other inequity I neglected to mention, very unequal. But this one works in women's favor. They live longer than men. And remember, this happens in spite of all the shit they have to put up with. So who do you think is tougher, men or women? Why'd you guess? And don't forget, women have the huge added burden of having to put up with men.
Alright. 4109. Be a good part to stop. That was good. That was a good solid 20 minutes right there. I was familiar with which one was the first one he did? Oh, the Ten Commandments. I was familiar with that one. But the rest of it was all new to me. And that bit for women, that was a solid bit. Made you think and appreciate a little bit, you know. But so that was part 2 for When Will Jesus Bring the Pork Chops. Again, this is a 7-hour and 30-minute audio book, so I'm breaking it down in segments. So I'm gonna try and make a playlist to have all of them categorized in. Other than that, link for my Political and my 420 merch will be in the description. And y'all have a nice night. Thanks for watching. Stay blazing.